because there is a lot of diplomatic movement, despite the United States now, that we need a path to peace. The United States, everyone is hoping or surmising that when the whole world is so clear on the solution, that the United States eventually is going to come along and stop promoting war and actually get on the side of peace.
Did the Mossad commit war crimes by the use of explosive material in the walkie-talkies, cell phones, and pagers of people in Lebanon that resulted in 3,000 injuries and hundreds of deaths?
Undoubtedly, there is a convention of the United Nations against booby-trapped devices, precisely this kind of occurrence. This was a terrorist attack. Apparently, it was an attack mainly against the civilian workers of Hezbollah who use these pagers, not against the military forces, as has been discussed. I'm not sure if that's the case, but that is what I hear. People should understand, by the way, what are these injuries? The pager beeped, people looked into the pager, and then their eyes were blown out. This is one of the major injuries that came from this. The loss of the eyes from these exploding devices as people looked down at their pagers that then exploded. And it's women, it's children, it's people in the marketplace, it's health workers, it's people going about their business. This was a terrorist attack, which shows, by the way, also, because one should have a pretty high confidence that the CIA was either directly involved or knew all about it. This was not only against international law, very explicit international law on booby-trapped devices, and absolutely a terrorist attack, but it shows how our supply chains absolutely are becoming suborned by Western intelligence agencies. Israel does it, the United States does it. We put our finger at China, but we're the ones doing these abuses. And Israel should be held to account for this. Do
we fund? I know we're funding the IDF. Do we fund Mossad also? Is there an argument made that the American CIA or whoever dispenses these funds was involved in this genocidal act of blinding innocent civilians?
Look, we're involved with everything Israel does, and whether we're directly involved in every step, we're involved in funding the whole operation. We're involved in enabling the whole operation every single day. These are our weapons. It's our money. It's shared intelligence. It's close relations between the CIA and Mossad, very close. And in the past, because of that closeness, when there has been an effective American president, they've sometimes said, no, stop, you can't do that. When Israel, Britain, and France decided to militarily take over the Suez Canal in 1956, Eisenhower told them, no way, you stop. And there have been other occasions where a strong president says to Israel, you stop. That's actually the job of the American president, because when you, as I always keep repeating, and sorry to repeat myself, but when you have $1 trillion invested in the war machine, believe me, it's always revving. And generals always have a great idea, and American allies, allies, so-called, they don't do me any good and you any good in security, but right. Ukraine and Israel and others want to use that $1 trillion war machine and then tell us, don't worry about World War III. It's just absolutely unbelievable.
Which do you think will explode first, Russia, Ukraine, or Israel versus its neighbors? By explode first, I mean dragging the U.S. in.
Of course, either of them would be completely devastating. Israel wants us to be in a war with Iran. Iran has, of course, a very close security arrangement with Russia. That's a path to World War III. Zelensky makes no bones about it. He wants NATO to be directly involved in the war. That's World War III. Take your choice. And both of these countries are equally irresponsible because they both think that they have their hand on the U.S. war machine. And again, the president of the United States has the job to say, sorry, no, you don't. We have our security interests. We don't want to get dragged into World War III. One gets a sense, by the way, that in a weak way, Biden is trying to say this. So yes, maybe he is saying don't use our missile systems and technology to strike deep into Russia. Don't attack nuclear power plants. Maybe he's saying to Israel, as has been reported in the press in the last couple of days, don't get into a war with Hezbollah. But is it working? No, that's the question of the efficacy of the American presidency versus the lobbies versus the endlessly stupid and ignorant war talk of members of Congress who are on the take from the military-industrial complex or from the Israel lobby or from whatever other lobby is pushing to use America's war machine for their narrow advantages. But this is, believe me, the time for grown-ups in this, and God help us, we better have them somewhere here.
Here's the clip of what I think you probably heard earlier this